Hey everybody, it's Glidercat and it's time to play. We're going to take a look at a cool new city builder today that I think is really quite unique. The game is called Complex Sky, and there is a free demo or alpha version available right now on itch.io, and I'll put a link in the description for that. The developer is working on a demo version that will be up on Steam, but it's not ready yet at the time of this recording, so depending on when you're watching this, check Steam to see if the demo's been posted. Complex Sky is scheduled to come to Steam sometime in Q4 of 2021, but you can wishlist it and follow it now if you like. It's up in Steam. To do that, the developer granted me a key so that I can provide this content for you, so my thanks goes to the developer for that. Now let's start our preview of Complex Sky by watching the game's trailer. Then we'll come back as usual and discuss what this game is all about. All right, here we go. So you can see from the trailer that you're going to be building a floating city, but this is not an idle city building game. You're going to have a lot to do and a lot to keep track of. Now in this preview video, we're not going to cover all the details of the game. I'm only going to touch on some of the key game mechanics and some of what I think makes this game so unique. For more in-depth coverage, check out my tutorial series where I walk through the in-game tutorial and we have more time to go into a lot more detail about the game. Now, back to the preview. Being a city builder game, you're going to be building housing, factories, mining, logging, research labs, and other buildings as you build out your floating city. There's also a tech tree you'll be working through as you go, which unlocks more buildings and various upgrades. And while you're doing that, you're going to need to keep your eye on four main things, I'd say. Pollution, your gravity engine, your parks, and your city controller. Now, some of this is very unique compared to other games, so I'll explain a little about each of these four items right now. First is pollution. This one's pretty straightforward and something you're likely already familiar with if you play a lot of city builder games. You can check the current state of pollution for your city by hovering over the pollution indicator over here at the bottom left of the screen. Your various production and mining buildings will produce pollution, as you might expect. But there are other buildings like farms that can actually help you reduce that pollution. You'll also be able to reduce pollution by planting trees, upgrading your buildings, and through some research available in the tech tree. Now, the next thing you'll be keeping an eye on is the gravity engine. And this is what is keeping your city afloat, literally. So to keep your city floating, you're going to need to build lifters. And here you can see one of the lifters for my city just kind of spinning there underneath. And you can keep an eye on your lift by hovering over the gravity engine display in the bottom left of the screen. And as you build your city, you're going to need to add more lift capacity. So it's pretty straightforward to add the lifters, but you just need to keep in mind that they consume both energy and money as well for regular maintenance costs. So that's like continuously burning money and electricity. And they also add a little bit of pollution, but it's not very complicated, and it's just something you need to kind of keep an eye on as you grow your city. Now we come to parks. Now, I'm not super clear on this one, but I believe as your city grows, your citizens want access to parks. And again, just like the others, at the park display here in the lower left of the screen, this time this one's going to turn red. I think the pollution one does too, actually. Maybe they all do. But it'll turn red once there's insufficient park space in your city. And we can look at the park building here in the buildings directory to see its effects. So you can see near the bottom of this display that each park adds 125 park points, 80 points of pollution clearing, plus 12 points to the city's appeal and another 15 points to the population health. So that's parks in a nutshell, but do keep in mind that you first need to unlock them by researching in the tech tree. And then the last main thing you'll be monitoring in your city is the city controller. Now, the city controller aspect of the game determines how much you can build and where you can build it. There are three main components here. It's the main controller, the shared controller, and the foundation capacity. And you can see those here in the pop-up. I won't cover this in detail, but basically large buildings will consume main controllers and smaller buildings will consume the shared controllers. And most of your buildings will also need to be placed on foundations. You can increase the number of controllers available by building tool warehouses and what they call capacitor bridges and adding those to your city. And the tool warehouses will also increase your foundation capacity. Now, if that sounds a little confusing, it's really not that bad. We'll cover more of this in my Complex Sky tutorial series. But for this preview video, I just wanted to highlight that there's some new game mechanics controlling how you can build that I haven't seen in other games. So I just wanted to give you a quick look at that stuff. So now let's talk a little bit about the citizens of your town. The developer mentioned that one of his inspirations for this game is the Anno series, and you're probably familiar with those. Anno 1800 just came out not too long ago. And the developer liked how that game has like the multiple classes of people that advance as you play. So in Complex Sky right now, there are currently two population classes in the game. The first one is workers, which is the lowest level, and then operators, which is the second level, and those operators are promoted from the workers. But there's plans for many, many more. I believe the developer said he plans to have about 9 different classes of people when the game is finished. I think that's more than Anno. And again, being inspired by Anno, you can expect that as your citizens level up, their needs are going to be more complex and more expensive to meet as you play on. All right, I want to touch on just a few more things, then we'll wrap up this preview video. In addition to the housing, production, and other buildings, you're going to need to set up connections for water and power. It's not as complex as like a city skylines kind of thing, but it is something you have to keep in mind. And then you're also going to need to set up a road network. But in Complex Sky, the roads are known as the levitate network. And here you can kind of see why, because the vehicles levitate on top of the roads. The vehicles do their own thing, and at least right now in the game, you don't need to manage them directly. Once you place down the roads, they will just find their way and deliver the products where they need to go, kind of automatically. So you don't have to buy trucks or set routes or assign trucks to routes. It all just kind of happens automatically once you place the buildings and you've got them connected with the levitate network. All right, so a lot has gone into this game, and there's really a lot of depth here. And as you play it and as you get into the game, that depth kind of starts coming through. A lot of work was put into this. You can upgrade your various buildings, and you can also earn perks for your entire city as you play on. There's different events that happen. And one of the things, as you progress in the game, you gain these things called trait points. And you can use these to enhance the operation of your city. So here you can see I've accumulated 5 trait points in this game that I can spend on any of the following buffs to my city. So the first one here, called Cash Empire, increases my tax income, but it slows down my population growth. And then there's another one here called Master Scientist, which boosts my progression on the tech tree, and this one doesn't have any downsides. So as you play, other buffs will show up that you can spend your trait points on, and it's just another aspect of the game that gives you some things to do to buff your city in different ways as you play on. So if you've got issues with pollution, maybe you're looking for a buff that helps with that. If you want to move faster on the research tree, yeah, maybe you pick that Master Scientist buff. But just another aspect of the game I wanted to show you. And then we're running a little bit long for a preview video here, but I need to cover one last thing. Now, you've already seen that your city is floating, and you need to keep it afloat, and we talked a little bit about that. But since you're in the clouds, you can actually build upside down as well. So now you can't do this right from the beginning. You first need to complete some research in the tech tree. And in fact, I believe there's multiple researches you need to complete in order to be able to build everything on the flip side, so to speak. But where I'm at in the game, I can only build a few things upside down. So here you can see me place a tool warehouse upside down, kind of on the bottom of my city. But that can grow pretty big. We saw in the trailer, almost like a mirror image of a very tall city. So I'm looking forward to get to that point. I haven't gotten there yet. If we open up the tech tree here, we can see there's a research that I'll need to complete in order to build the apartments upside down. So that's probably the next thing I'm going to work towards in my current playthrough. So all of that should give you a pretty good idea of what Complex Sky is all about. Again, if you want to see more of this game, check out my tutorial series. It should be posting to the Glidercat channel a day or two after this video. Maybe I'll post the first episode on the same day this posts, just so you can see more right away. Also, if you want to learn more about upcoming very cool games, I've said it before, be sure to check out my First Looks playlist. There's a ton of great games featured in there. And so I'll put a link to that in the description as well. But as soon as I find a cool game, the first place it shows up on my channel is usually that First Looks playlist. So give that a look, and I'm guessing you will find something you didn't know about that looks pretty cool. And then again, as I record this for Complex Sky, you can pick up a free version on itch.io. And again, I'm told the developer is working on a demo for Steam, so keep an eye out for that. It's not there yet as I record this, but it should be there soon. And in the meantime, you can just grab the demo from itch.io. And that's it. So for now, this is Glidercat saying I will see you in the next one.